Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today in this video I'm going to do my top 10 horror films, that is, independent horror films for the year of 2013. That means any independent horror film. Now by independent I don't just mean films that are released independently. I mean independent films, video on demand, straight to DVD, limited release, any film that did not have a nationwide release, as long as it's a horror film, and as long as it, no nationwide release, and as long as it was released before the date of December 17th of the year of 2013, not that the film was released afterwards or bad or anything, just obviously I haven't seen those films yet because of me making the video on this day, and I want to get the video out as soon as possible, that way you guys can view it before the year of 2014 comes out and a bunch more horror films come out. So once again, as long as it comes out before December 17th of 2013. Before I start this list, I just want to say that 2013, video on demand horror films, those independent, those smaller horror films that not a lot of people know about unless you're real big on horror films or just like to keep up with movie news and horror movie news in general, has been a great year, if not one of the best years in a long time, if not ever. And overall, there's been a lot of good stuff. I have a pretty big list, so this might be a pretty lengthy video that I may have to split up into a few parts, and I probably will have to. So first off, let's start with our honorable mentions. And these films are films that were great and just good in every way, but not quite good enough to be on my top 10. Unlike my other videos, this list will be in order from 10 to 1. My other lists, they were not in order; they were just in random and no particular order. My mainstream horror film, those were, and this independent, video on demand, limited straight to DVD, small release films, these will be in order from 10 to 1. Now the honorable mentions are not in order, they're just in a random order, and there are quite a few, so I will try to go through them, not too fast, but at a decent speed, that way we can hurry and get to the most important stuff, the top 10 best horror film, independent horror films for the year of 2013. But first up, our honorable mentions for the smaller release horror films for the year 2013. First up is a foreign film. I believe the film was a German film, though I could be wrong. It was a vampire movie by the name of We Are the Night. And We Are the Night was a great film. I really enjoyed it. Not as good enough to be on my top 10, but definitely an honorable mention. It came out, I believe, way back in January of this year. And I believe it's on Netflix now. It's an IFC Midnight film. IFC Midnight always puts out great stuff. The independent film company. They have a channel too on Dish and DirecTV. Anyway, so We Are the Night. It was really cool. It puts a different take on the vampire genre. Gives the vampires some story. It's not just about vampires eating people. This girl gets bitten and she's trying to pretty much abandon her human life and trying to get accustomed to the life of a vampire, and it put a nice twist to it that I really enjoyed, and I believe I reviewed it also, so if you want to check my full review on that, just click in the search bar. There was a thriller, and not all of these are horror, by the way. There was a few that aren't horror, but I didn't have enough regular dramas or thrillers to put these in a separate video, so I wanted to go ahead and just throw them in here. So another honorable mention, this is not a horror film, it's more of a drama, by the name of The Company You Keep, starring actors by the name of Chris Cooper and Shia LaBeouf and Robert Redford. And I really enjoyed The Company You Keep. It was a really cool film, pretty much about this detective as he goes, not a detective, a journalist. Shia LaBeouf plays a journalist that's trying to find things out. I don't want to say too much more, but he plays a great role, definitely one of the best roles I've seen him in a long time. There's actually another film that stars him that I will actually be talking about later on. The Company You Keep, though, definitely a nice recommendation. Has a great sort of indie thriller vibe to it, and overall, I would definitely recommend The Company You Keep. Another great film that done by the director by the name of Dario Argento, known for directing films such as Suspiria, Inferno, Mother of Tears, Giallo, is a film in the name of Argento's Dracula. It was called Dracula 3D, so if you're wondering, I am talking about Dracula 3D, but it was renamed to Argento's Dracula. But I really enjoyed the Argento's Dracula, and it was really cool. Had some nice blood to it. I really enjoyed Thomas Kretschmann, the German actor who played the character of Dracula. He played a great role. He was really fun to watch. Had some nice bloody scenes in there. Had kind of a different take on Dracula. It took straight elements from the book that you don't see in a lot of Dracula films, and Argento put that into his film. And overall, it was really cool. It had his daughter in it also by the name of Asia Argento, and she was cool in it. And overall, it was a nice, different Dracula film that I don't think you see a lot nowadays. So that was pretty cool. Another honorable mention of mine is a film by the name of Sharknado or Sharknado, however you say that. It was a Sci-Fi Channel original film. This had a huge buzz on Twitter, and it was really fun overall. A lot of times, Sci-Fi Channel films take a long time to come out on DVD. It wasn't the case with Sharknado or Sharknado, however you say it. It wasn't the case at all with that. It stars Tara Reid, Zerlin, and John Hurt. Overall, I thought it was a very fun, entertaining film. Not a top 10, but definitely one you have to mention just because of all the hype that it got and I guess you could say the phenomenon that it had on Twitter. They really should have put that on the DVD. But anyways, I had to talk about it just because, and overall, I thought Anthony C. Ferrante, who directed it, I actually thought it was a pretty good movie. It was entertaining. That Ferris wheel sequence is really nice. And for a budget of $4 million, I believe, it was pretty decent. I thought it was really good. So that's that. Another honorable mention of mine is actually a kind of a drama romance comedy by the name of Drinking Buddies. Drinking Buddies was done by the director of Joe Swanberg, one of my all-time favorite actors, and he did great in this film. I believe it stars Jason Sudeikis, Olivia Wilde. And overall, it was kind of like it had a nice indie feel to it. It was a nice, different kind of romantic comedy. You could really tell that Joe Swanberg gave it his all, gave it that nice studio feel wrong with it, and it was kind of a nice, different romantic comedy that I thought was really good. Something that I'm not usually into, but overall, I was definitely with that one. An IFC Midnight film, I believe, by the name of Haunter. I actually just watched this just last night. This film stars Stephen McHattie and Abigail Breslin, and they were both great in it. I think I honestly enjoyed Abigail Breslin just a little more, but Stephen McHattie as the villain was cool also. Kind of just like a nice classic ghost haunted house movie, kind of like a Groundhog Day, but put into a horror film. But it develops into so much more than that. Has a nice mystery vibe to it, and overall a great atmosphere. And it even has vibes of an 80s film sometimes. So overall, Haunter was really cool. A chiller film by the name of Beneath. This film was really cool. Some great practical effects, a great story. Some people thought it had kind of a camp value to it. I took the film very seriously when I watched it, and I thought it plays off in a very serious way with really no campy or goofiness or really funny scenes in general. It's crazy to see, I don't say too much, but it's crazy to see how far people will go to survive on that boat. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Overall, Beneath is really cool. Another film that I own, actually, I'll show you real quick, by the name of The Haunting in Connecticut 2 also is an honorable mention of mine. I have quite a bit of these, so this is a pretty lengthy video. Once again, thanks for your patience and thanks for watching. I'll have to split into a few parts, definitely. I don't know how much based on a true story it is. That stuff can always be kind of iffy. A trend back in the 80s he used to do. Anyway, so The Haunting in Connecticut 2, The Ghost of Georgia, has nothing to do with the first one, but it takes that nice kind of classic ghost, once again, kind of a classic ghost story, puts it into a kind of a modern day twist with kind of vibes of an 80s at times. Even gets really sentimental to the towards the end. It stars people by the name of Abigail Spencer and Chad Michael Murray, and they all play great roles. And overall, I like that real sentimental scene towards the end. That it was really cool. Has some great eerie scenes in it that were enjoyable to watch. Another honorable mention of mine is a film named Upside Down. Upside Down was a really cool one that I really enjoyed about this upside down world. It was a nice, different film with some amazing visuals. This one came out in 3D. Limited release, and it would have been really cool to see this one. In 3D because it had that great look to it. Overall, visuals are probably one of the best things about it, but it had a nice romantic story too that I really enjoyed. Thale was a foreign film, I believe, a Norwegian film about a Norway concept about this girl with a tail. I believe it was found footage. And they went out and they found this girl that had a tail, and they tried to find out where she came from, who she is, if there's others like her. And it had a really cool concept. It's actually getting a sequel next year. Next, and we have another IFC film. I believe it's an IFC film. I'm not for sure, with the name of Crawl Space. Crawl Space was a really cool one, mainly for that ending. The rest of the film was really good, but that ending was just spectacular in every way, form, and fashion. Crawl Space was another great one. Aftershock was written by the guy by the name of Eli Roth, and the director, I had his name just a second ago, but it escapes me. Aftershock was kind of like I guess you could say kind of a earthquake kind of film, kind of a thriller, destruction kind of film. I don't want to say too much, but it definitely is a horror. It's kind of like a destruction horror kind of film. I won't say any more than that because it was really cool. Eli Roth plays a great role in that one. American Mary is another honorable mention of mine. I actually do own the film. I'll show you guys right here. American Mary was another really cool one done by the Soska twins. Now going to do the See No Kane's, I believe it's called See No Evil. Yeah, Kane's in it, but the See No Evil sequel. This is a really cool one about this girl who does plastic surgery on people. Not your conventional plastic surgery either. I'm talking about horns, all kinds of stuff. You know, giving people wings, and she does some pretty crazy stuff. That's kind of the plot for the film, about this surgeon who owns a phone bill and then kind of gets obsessed after she learns how good she is at it. It's kind of like a natural God-given gift. And overall, this is a really cool one. Definitely an honorable mention. Just had a cool vibe to it. Another honorable mention of mine was a film by the name of Burton and Taylor. This was actually a British film on the BBC America channel that I watched, and Burton and Taylor, once again, not a horror film, based on the true life of Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, the stage actors, and kind of their turmoil, and had some great acting in it, some great drama, great romance, and I really enjoyed that one. I watched this film, this is a horror film, on Netflix with the name of Europa Report. Watched it just recently. Another found footage film, kind of done in a mockumentary style. I love the concept. That, once again, that ending scene is great of Europa Report. Has a nice build up to the ending, just the overall vibe of the film. That ending really, because you have that just huge build up where you have little trickling things happen. Once that ending comes, it ends with a bang up, and that was really cool. Grabbers was another IFC film. I don't know if it was IFC Midnight, but Grabbers was an IFC film, and it was really cool. Kind of a horror comedy. Plays itself more of a horror, but there are some kind of comedy scenes about these guys that pretty much, I don't want to say too much, but there's this big creature, and they have to stay drunk in the film in order to stay away from this creature, but because the alcohol poisons the creature. It's the only way they can stay away from it. So that's kind of the plot of that one. And then another film is a film in the name of Zombie Night. Zombie Night was a Sci-Fi Channel original film by the director of John Gulager, known for directing films such as Piranha Double D and the Feast franchise. Feast is both 1, 2, and 3. And Zombie Night was his newest film. This was a great film. Yes, it was simple, but you can definitely tell John Gulager was behind it. Cam Wrangles, several scenes of practical blood, the way the zombie makeup looked. Clu Gulager was in it for a little short segment, along with his wife, Diane Goldner. And overall, Zombie Night I had to mention because of that, because of those reasons. And overall, it's just a fun zombie film. Definitely an honorable mention. And now that I have taken up, a good 13 some minutes of your time, if you include both the split parts of this video, let's get to the most important part of this video, to the top 10 best horror films, top 10 best independent video on demand, limited release, straight to DVD, top 10 best horror films of the year of 2013. Once again, these are in order. Starting in at the number 10 spot is a film with the name of Frankenstein's Army. Frankenstein's Army was a found footage film. It was pretty much about this doctor that made mechanical zombies, and all these Germans came across these mechanical zombies, and they had to kind of fend themselves off. They come across this doctor that makes them. What my favorite things about it was obviously the mechanical zombies that were in there. They were really cool to look at. They showed up really cool. It had a nice, scary, very fun vibe to it. And then the doctor that shows up towards the end from the first Hellboy film, the villain in the first Hellboy film, I really enjoyed his performance too. He was extremely cool to watch. That guy was cool. He doesn't come in towards the end, but he was still really cool. Coming in at the number 9 spot is a film in the name of Bad Milo. Now, Bad Milo was pretty much kind of had the practical effects of those old 80s films, and maybe late 70s, but mainly 80s films. And it's pretty much a horror comedy about this guy this is literally the plot of the film, this guy that pretty much poops out this creature or monster. And that's pretty much the plot of the movie. He has this thing that's living inside of him, and this creature living inside of him acts on the subconscious decisions that